What's up, everyone? My name is Terminus, and today we are gonna take a look at Jujutsu Kaisen episode 6. Already 6 episodes in, it's crazy. I'm recording these ahead a little bit because I have a lot to do next month, or rather this month and next month, and we're gonna get ahead a little bit so I don't have too much stress towards the end of the month actually doing stuff and getting things done. But with that out of the way, let's take a little bit of a look into something I wanted to do last time actually, but because of like time things and I don't want to have each episode be too long, I actually decided to do it this time around. And this time around we're actually gonna look at some little clips of Sakugaboro. It's not too much because I feel like the last couple of episodes they didn't have all the interesting things on there. I mean, there was definitely a lot of interesting sequences, but none of them, like, none that stood out extremely, right? So I do feel like we don't have to look into it too much. If I could actually get this website to work. Let me just not have it, gonna have that on screen. It's weird, how the fuck? This takes longer than it usually does. Alright, we're just gonna get started now. It's still not loading properly. I don't know if it's just because the servers are overwhelmed or something, or because I opened too many tabs on Sakuga, I don't know. But we'll see. This is the first sequence I was going to look at, which is one of the special grades that we dealt with in episode 4/5. And its fight, it starts out with like the fight against Megumi and Yuji that we can see here. It kind of like explode, like the form of this kind of monster kind of reminds me a little bit of what we see in Dragon Ball Z with Majin Buu and whatnot. I never really watched the GT arcs. I was like, when I was a kid it was Dragon Ball Z, and after that I didn't pay attention to it anymore. There was actually a while, like for a good, I think 5-6 years, where I didn't watch any anime at all. Probably even longer, probably almost 10 years. But yeah, we do have that burst of energy, which still has the same color coding, yeah, like the same Jujutsu color coding that we have here for the techniques that the sorcerers themselves use, which is a really nice attention to detail. We have a little explodey thingy, not all that impressive. It's just a general explosion effect in my opinion. Having like that. It's nice that we have like that way paved, and we see Fushiguro being really scared here. And we have that movement right here. It's very funny, right? This is this snap, wild, crazy laughter kind of thing, and kind of uncontrolled movement, unpredictable movements that display, in my opinion, a mind that you can't properly read, right? Somebody who you can't really put your finger on how they're gonna act in the next second. Yeah, same here again. We have this very out of your mind, crazy kind of right here, scream and laugh at the same time, and just hugging yourself, being crazy, like it's a very good way, like a very good portrayal in my opinion on like an animation level, showing that there's no clear pattern to a person's, or in this case a monster's movement, which makes it very creepy and unusual. And then what we do have here is a similar thing, but with a different emotion. The emotion we had before was laughter and joy, and just glee in the fear and pain of others. But the moment the monster actually goes after, or tries to go after Sukuna here, it kind of just jumps away from him because it's afraid, right? we do see fear, right? The shaking, slight, mild back and forth movements, but also building up power, right? In a response of like self-defense, attacking before the other attacks. And we do have this, which is really cool in my opinion. You have very smaller kind of movements, and then you have like the lunge backwards to kind of like as if you were throwing a ball or something, gaining momentum like in sports. And we make almost a Kamehameha kind of thing. Oh, I really like this shot, right? The dimension. You go from normal kind of out of frame face, you go into this, which is really insane, right? The one eye is clearly visible and normal, and the other eye is kind of just very much distorted in its dimensions because it's so close to the camera. Very nice how they play with distance here, and with the speed of the movement. And we have that limbs building themselves out of a mass of flesh kind of deal. And we're getting closer to what a hand is supposed to look like. And kind of have that little ripple effect here. But yeah, here that's what I meant with like the fear and shit. I mean, before that was already like self-defense and afraid and whatnot, but here's like the face of shock here going in. Sukuna very, very unimpressed, very being like, alright, you're not gonna team up with me? Fine, I'm gonna kill the fuck out of you. It's not even looking at him. That's like the disrespect that goes into that. We have the typical like, I'm gonna throw you down face first into the ground. Impact frames, rocks shattering away. The usual, you know, the usual. Very nicely done, of course, but the usual. And then he's gonna just add another layer to it. Alright, let me just... and boom, impact. Everything around it crumbles. More lines, more shattering. And I fall down with it, of course, which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, the fight itself isn't gonna win any awards in my opinion, but there's some decent animation tricks made here, right? Grabbing the limb, changing the momentum of a person, close up on the arm, swoosh over, change the perspective by 180, zoom out. We have like the blurriness, right? It signifies speeding up, right? Here we still see Yuji's body or Sukuna's body normally, and here it starts kind of fizzling out at the corners, and suddenly it's just like one smudge on the camera lens. And we go for the second one, but then boom, arm is cut off. Clear kind of silverish, lightish kind of lines to signify the cutting, and then we use the blood to transfer into another frame that we set up, which is probably a manga frame, I would assume. Close up on the face, on the smile. We do that very often for Sukuna, always kind of concentrating on what emotion he's feeling, and what we see best, where we see his emotions best, is when he's smiling sadistically. We have another one here. It's not that impressive, but I like that actually. Like, I like this. You see the cross section, which is very, very nicely drawn. You see the cross section, and then out of the cross section you see in a couple of frames. Can I just do it? No, I can't do it like that. Unfortunate. I have to use the mouse. You'll have to do with the click, make do with the clicking. But yeah, a lot of little things, right? Little particles, cells basically, but abstract representations of them, of course. And then it kind of expands, almost bulges out beyond the actual dimensions of the thing, and then it like a mass of clay, it forms back into what it's supposed to be, right? As if it first uncontrollably advances and expands, and then it remembers, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be, and then it kind of squishes itself in, like you're using some kind of dough to make a certain form or certain shape of pastry. And I like these shots as well. Like, these shots are always cool. You do have the perspective change that comes with something, an object or a person flying towards the camera, and when they almost take over all of the camera, you suddenly get the flip on the reverse perspective, like the 180, and you see them from the back a little bit, like especially when they're coming down from the shot, right? Like they're exactly here, right? They disappear, they're not in the shot, but suddenly, right, one foot in the shot, but you don't notice the foot all that well. It might as well be something in the background, but now you notice it because it moves and it just drops into the frame here, which is a cool thing to do. Yeah, we have these. I think this is one of the more impressive ones from like a general perspective. I'm not sure though. This might actually not be what I think it was, because I was looking at this last time, but it's possible that, oh yeah, it's the heart thing actually. First of all, we see this, right? It's not a hand anymore the moment he wants to go in. It signifies more how sharp of an object it technically is from an abstract point of view, and then he goes into the heart, and we do have that heart beating animation and all of that. But yeah, I mean, it's not that special. I would have loved to see like the fight more than the other one. Right, alright, this one isn't loading, so we go to the next one. Yeah, this is like the elevator shaft, which I think is cool. It's always really impressive if you do something like that, where you have almost not changing environment, but right, a deep dark hole where there is something on the walls that you can display, and then you see the vast movement of gravity pulling you down. And then out of the shadow, as you can see, with like the colors are very simple in the beginning. You have two main primary colors, which is the red and the black. The black is the shadow out of which the Shikigami comes, and the red is like an approximation as to what color it can have. Kind of looks like wings in the beginning, and then it grabs them and flies them down the shaft, which is very interesting because this is not how it would work in gravity, right? I mean, at least not. No, it wouldn't work that way. So it's very cool and interesting that the bird actually pulls him down, that he's perpendicular to the ground, and kind of this sequence kind of reminds me of something like Fox in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, where we fly up with the phoenix through the chamber, which is a very narrow thing as well. Kind of how they displayed this, and we grab the momentum on, right? We continue with that. Change the perspective from I'm coming down, he is sliding, and almost coming. You almost think he comes to a halt, but then he passes you by he passes the camera by. We get a shot of his face determined. And as we make our way, we change the perspective, we rotate them, but it's happening fast enough for us to actually see that all of that as a fluid movement. And suddenly we're behind them, right? And the angle is right. It went from looking at the one side from a kind of like ground perspective upwards to just panning over and doing the same thing, right? Looking upwards, being very, very diagonal, and as such, like the dimensions are different as well, of course, of how we display Megumi's form, and we do see his speed and hurry as we clearly draw a line between him pushing himself off the ground with his foot and his body already leaned forward in the direction where he's moving. So it makes for a very, very nice and sexy animation sequence, where we have a little bit of a struggle and less speed when he comes to the ground, which makes sense because the ground forces him to meet resistance in his movement. But as he meets the resistance, at some point he is in the position that he wouldn't fall anymore, right? That the speed is slow enough that he wouldn't fall, and that is when his mind and his muscles kick in and move forward in the intention of taking that momentum that he's still left in order to gain more speed again in a more controlled manner. Now let me see if there's actually something interesting. Oh yeah, the Jujutsu sequence. I definitely wanted to look at that, right? We unlock the power with like our opponent standing here. Interestingly enough, we focus on the feet. We cut away all of his upper form. We only see the feet, right? And in my opinion, that is kind of a representation of he's moving forward, right? He was in that situation where he was afraid, where he was afraid of dying and like disappointed in his own weakness, and he was like, okay, but he gathered the resolve and went into a forward motion, and we're concentrating on these steps. And here we have a full on, right, in your face frame of him looking very determined, very angry, and taking up most of the space of the entire screen, which tells you a lot about the presence he has at the moment, which is he is determinedly moving towards you as like perspective of the monster, as an obstacle, as somebody who is gonna confront you. And then we have to zoom in on the eye, and we're going right, the fist is going directly into us, and then we switch into point of view of the fist, basically getting closer and closer to the face it wants to hurt. We have those black smudges all around, which is like the representation of the power, and everything is dyed in that red that we have established here as the Jujutsu power. And what a frame, right? What a frame. With the foot all the way in the back and the diagonal line going all the way to our end point of the fist, which is clearly not in the middle of the frame, but slightly to the right side, which is the thing that I talked about before with the 9 kind of fields that you can separate it in, that you know, like that you learn pretty early on when you do photography and camera work and stuff like that. It's kind of in that middle right quadrant in this case, and it's gonna be our focus point for this shot. This is where automatically, with the movement and everything that happened, and even with that frame that we see here, is where the intention falls immediately. Also very cool how there's also this little line of red jutsu in his step. I wonder if that is kind of signifying, if that's just an artistic flair, or if it's signifying that his entire body movement and everything around it is actually being supported by this power in this second. Could be both, right? And now we have the impact, right? All the power that had just, right, that was drawing that, I don't even know how you call it, that tail behind it, is condensing in one area, and then like it's condensing in that area, and then it's splurting out again because of the impact onto a solid surface. But obviously it did not work, despite the ground shattering from all of the power. It did not work. But yeah, cool. Nice shots all together. We're gonna take a very, very quick look through episode 5, but we're not gonna stay on too long. Let me take a gander. Yeah, we have the confrontation with Sukuna. We have the shots, we talked about this last time, going through, he's flying through buildings like holy shit. He's sending his spirits back because he's like, okay, otherwise they're gonna die, right? On the one hand, right, I want to use them later on. On the other hand, maybe even cares about them a little bit, because like, after all, he wouldn't be the first person who has a little bit of nostalgia and attachment, or even to their negative emotions. I'm still wondering if these deals they make with Shikigami, I would assume they make deals or some sort of thing. Because Skuna made some offhand comments regarding that. But if these deals are actually with their own personal negative emotions, right? They maybe Jujutsu have a lot of negative emotions themselves, and then they can kind of form those Shikigamis out of them, or maybe the certain Shikigami are drawn to them, or maybe certain curses or Shikigami they negotiate with the sorcerer, like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna be good. You just provide me with something or somebody to let my aggression out, and I'm gonna work for you, right? It's gonna be a win-win. Could be a lot of these things. We'll have to see how that turns out to be. And it's Mickey. I think it's Mickey and not Sumiki, but I might be wrong. Definitely somebody who's gonna become very important in our little flashbacks, and when it comes to motivational stuff surrounding Megumi. He has a very much a difference in my opinion here. He emphasizes retribution, which I think is a little bit different from revenge. If we look at his pendant in Chainsaw Man, which would be Aki is very revenge driven, right? By all means necessary. He seems a little bit softer here in my opinion, and retribution sounds to me more like how do I express that? More spiritual, right? Retribution seems a lot like a kind of a mix of revenge but also justice, while revenge seems to me more of a I'm giving back exactly what I've gotten, but it's an aggressive feeling, right? And for him, in my opinion, that feeling isn't that the connotations of how he wants to apply justice is not aggressive but more detached, right? That's how it feels to me, detached and somewhat reasonable, logical within his own sense of, like, within his own structure of logic and his own idea of what justice is. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to develop from then on. And we do have our people, right? Not a lot to say to that. Not really familiar with the names. Pretty sure we're going to get more and more familiar with them down the line, though. Gojo's kind of peeved. This person I don't know, but he definitely has a boner for her. And we do have those two being a little bit down because Yuji died in their mind. We get to know the second year students, the upperclassmen, or upper class pandas, and we're gonna learn about the tournament, which, interestingly enough, we see the president here and somebody else might be the two presidents, one of Kyoto and one of Tokyo, just being possibly foreshadowed of fighting against one another, or maybe there's a tall tale to tell about the fight they once had or something. That is a cool transition shot, actually, of a very traditional one, right? We don't see that as often anymore, where you just have like that card coming in being like, and I do this, and then his face comes in, right? It's a very simple thing, but effective, and it doesn't break the shot in a way that would be in any way unsatisfying. Purity, and Skuna tease, which I want to see now. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do indeed? before we start, there's two versions of this. Edited reaction here, picture in picture in the description down below. Do whatever you want, but come back to the YouTube for the discussion. I would very much appreciate it. It helps me with my watch time and all that. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It would be really cool, because at some point when I got enough subscribers, I'm actually gonna be able to monetize those videos, which means I'm gonna earn some money from that, which means I'm gonna be able to put more effort into that. Well, maybe not more effort, but more time at least, right? Can justify that, right? That I'm doing this instead of taking another shift at wherever I'm working at. I do also have a Discord. Would really appreciate if you joined us there. Talked about all kinds of stupid, interesting, funny stuff. On there we have memes, we have we have memes, we don't have genes, but we have, yeah, and there's a Patreon. Check out the Patreon. God, I'm awkward sometimes. I don't know, man. Sometimes I'm just awkward. That's how it goes, okay? I'll work on these transitions. It's kind of weird. I don't like transitions, but I like separating this into reaction and discussion, because it makes it a lot easier to just kind of gather my thoughts and prepare for whatever comes, right? First the discussion, and then the reaction, and then, hey, let's talk a little bit about it. But normally I need like a minute or two to actually process that. I just hate doing the transitions. It's annoying as fuck. Everything green. Alright, 𝐏𝐢𝐏𝐿, yeah, episode 6 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. And into the heart of the matter, right? Right, heart, emotions, thoughts, feelings, but also, oh, spine. And then we go into the throne, aren't we? Oh no, okay. He still exists. Cocky Yuji, I like it. I like the attitude. Ooh, there's more people now. Really cool. We'll take a look at that after the episode. More people. I love changing intros where there's like little details changing. It's really cool. After rain. I know rain is ame. I don't know what after would be. Ameato? I don't know. Yeah, fuck you, bastard. This is your inner mind. So I wonder what comes out of this. Clever. I don't think he's so boring. I think he's annoying you, and that is why you treat him like that. Holy shit, dude. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yet. Ooh, now he has the power. Okay. Oh, that is tricky. Kill or injure anyone. Oh, are they gonna make a pact? Oh, yes, okay, okay. Alright, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, to be fair, I think 𝐸𝐿𝐏 thinks he has the upper hand here, and he thinks he's clever enough to kind of just wreck him if he needs to. He is stubborn. Psych. Well, I mean, now you're in trouble. Oh, a dream. Okay. Revolution, I like it. Yeah, but he wants to do it differently. So he needs people. He needs people that look up to him. People that are like-minded. People that trust him. All right. And he forgot about it, of course, because of the deal. Shit! This is gonna come up later, and it's gonna be a problem. Okay. Okay. That's a very nice teacher. Very nice mentor. Okay. Ooh, he's that strong. Ceiling. Like schooner. Prison realm. Good one, dude. Spontaneous combustion. Oh, now he's going wild. This is a disregard for human life. Eight or 9 fingers, okay. Methinks he's gonna get his ass whooped at some point. But we'll have to see, don't we? I like the halfway point transitions. He's being honest, okay. Wonder how he's gonna react when he finds out that Yuji's dead. Yuji's alive. Oh, he picked that up. This is always a hard job to do. It'll be hard, right? It's gotta be hard. He had a job to do. Oh, okay, I mean, fair enough. Oh, she's the one with the halberd thingy. Or the glaive. Right, he wants to become stronger. So they both, it's funny, they both have the same mindset, kind of. Determination. Ooh. Magic. Me neither. Me neither. Ooh, electricity and appliances. So you have, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, just raw energy, and this is control. Ah, makes sense. All right. Okay. He turned into paper. Spirit gun or a second gun. Oh, okay, so he's gonna... It was like 5 references, but okay. Yeah, talent for close combat. That's how it goes. Mm-hmm. It's gonna end in a dud, isn't it? I mean... Mm-hmm. Same goes for Nobara, to be honest. Like they always have.
交流会まで一月半ボサボサしてんなよ。次お前も長いの試してみろ。
みんなわずかな感情の火種から磁力を捻出する訓練をしてるんだ。逆に大きく感情が触れたとき、
okay. Control temper.
あるけど、ユージにはかなりしんどいものをやってもらうよ。
Are we gonna go into Mr. Miyagi land? No?
映画鑑賞？そう。もちろんただ見るだけじゃないよ。こいつと一緒に見るんだ。超特製の樹海だよ。
ああ、やっぱりか。趣味が同じ。
It's gonna punch you, isn't it?
その樹海は一定の磁力を流し続けないと目を覚まして今みたいに襲ってくるよ。さっきも言った通り、ここにはいろんな映画が揃ってるから、まずはその樹海を起こさず映画を一本が無傷で見通すこと。
Alright.
他でも一定の磁力出力を保つ訓練。今は有事でも出せる程度の微弱な磁力に設定してあるけど、徐々に大きな出力を要求してくるから常に気を抜く。
Yeah, we're gradually getting into it.
何から見る？これなんておすすめだよ。ヒロインがムカつくんだけど最後派手に死ぬの。
Why did you just spoil it?
そうだな。最初はアクション。
フグの持ち運びか。
獲物で近接を補うのは賛成ですけど、術式上両手はパッと開けられるようにしたいんです。全員先輩は2つ以上持ち歩くこととかザラですよね。どうしてるんですか？
パンダに持たせてる。
聞かなきゃよかったパート2。
I mean, you could be using your feet.
飼ってる術師とかもいるよな。
Oh, okay. Dimensional pocket.
わからんが、お前あの時なぜ逃げた？宝の持ち腐れだな。
あれは俺には特級に勝てる可能性があったと。
Yeah, that's what he was basically saying. I mean, maybe not exactly that, but definitely saw that he had a lot of potential.
先輩、なんとかなりそうです。
Wonder how that's gonna turn out. Nabara, what are you doing? Oh no.
昔住んでたところのゴミの指定袋がね、思ったわ。逆じゃないって。そうよ、赤よ。普通赤。
It's gonna explode, isn't it? Well, something was exploding.
コーラ飲んでるときはやめろや。
飲むなよ。
オーチ映画にはポテチとコーラでしょ。
それはそうね。じゃあ僕は用事あるので、その調子で頑張ってね。死んでるとき好きなと話したかい？心臓を治すにあたって条件とか契約を持ちかけられなかった？
ああ、なんか話した気がするけど、思い出せねえんだよな。
Yeah. He took note of that. Clever Gojo. Clever.
ここでですか？
先行ってて。
これ何か試されてます？本当に先行ったら殴る的な。
僕をなんだと思って。
あ、では。
They're all a little bit afraid of Gojo. Maybe he was noticed that he was being followed. Alright, I didn't know we would have that immediately.
君、何者？
Alright, it seems that everything is gonna end with a cliffhanger now, so it is what it is. Nice touch. Alright, Assault. Next time with Magma Boy Special. Let's see how that turns out to be. See you on YouTube, guys. Lost in Paradise. Let's talk about it. Skuna's inner world. I really like how they're going into the heart. Like, to represent that, I said it in the reaction. The heart is generally, at least in older times, it was considered the center of emotions and all of that. Obviously, these days, we're mostly sure and know that it's the hippocampus and various other regions of the brain, like the limbic system in general. We have him sitting there, like with the Roman kind of emperor robes on his throne of bones and whatnot. That this is his inner realm, which you did not immediately notices, but he's got the right attitude, right? We have that here. It's like, fuck you, dude. I'ma rip you apart. I mean, he won't be able to, but he's really angry at him, which makes sense, right? This whole spiel has gotten out of control for him. But yeah, what I wanted to actually note is, beyond her having a really, really beautiful smile, by the way, what I really wanted to note is the picture with all of them, right? And now we see a lot of more people. And yes, the guy behind the tree is actually a president. And yes, we do have Panda on top here. We have the coroner lady down there. We have our window, our observer here. We have Zenin Senpai here, and I don't remember how you were called, Mr. Zip Up Your Hoodie. Mr. Kind of communicate or talk curse language, curses or whatever. I don't quite remember it. So with time, more people are getting added, which is great, and I do wonder if at some point if somebody dies, they're actually getting removed. I still haven't seen this guy next to Yuji and Megumi, so who could that be? I think one person was mentioned who is like super talented in a third year. Maybe it's him. I think we saw a glimpse of somebody, like a portrait of somebody, but I'm not sure if that's the same person that we see here in the picture. Either way, really cool how we add new elements. Blood and bones, we have a confrontation, and obviously we have, I mean, Yuji is clever, and Sukuna for a second is surprised, but then he regains his composure and he's like, fuck you, dude. I know what I'm doing, but he says here, man, you're boring. I don't think he's boring. I don't think you actually see him as boring. I think you see him as annoying as fuck. And this is how you're constantly trying to put him down. Right, step on him, step down, sit on him. You're like, this is my realm, I'm the boss here. And he tries to force some conditions on Yuji. He manages to do it later on, but first of all, Yuji doesn't immediately fall for it. He's like, no, you're gonna just get me back. But yeah, he wants to make a pact, because in a pact, I would assume Sukuna has more immediate control. If Sukuna tried to take over and whatnot, he probably still couldn't do it properly. Because Yuji still can step in and do his thing, but he's trying to kind of low-key gaslight and convince Yuji of the fact that he's getting stronger either way, and Yuji will not be able to stop that. And that all the times that Yuji was able to take over was partially because Sukuna was alright with it to some degree. Which I'm not quite convinced of. I think that Sukuna is kind of bluffing a little bit here, trying to talk up his own points. I find it also very interesting that he suggests that thing of like, okay, how about this? You're not accepting my terms. How about we fucking fight? You just punched me in the face, you asshole. I'm gonna have to regain power again, right? So he suggests, okay, if I win, you come back to life under my conditions, which one of the conditions, as you forget, we ever talked about this, which is the same thing we had in ReZero with Echidna, right? It's kind of very problematic because it's gonna bite you in the ass and you're not gonna have it on your radar because you don't remember it. But it makes for an interesting plot element. And he's like, sure, I'll beat you to a pulp. He wanted to say probably something along those lines, but before he could say it, he was already dead. It's like, yeah, Skuna was holding back. It's his domain, it's his realm, right? It's his head. Obviously, he would be super strong in there no matter what. Probably even unbeatable. Yeah, Gojo's really peeved about this. He's like, Yuji could have been one of them big boys, right? He had that dream. He's like, I need to reform the agency because I think they're not good. Like everybody is like corrupt and decrepit and whatnot, and we need to change that. And he wants to reform everything, but for that he needs supporters, and his supporters are going to be his students because his students look up to him, and also because he picks students that are promising, that have promising power and strength and also promising qualities, probably in personality. But yeah, that guy to the left side here, he could be the guy we saw in the OP at the end there with the group picture. He looks a little bit different, has longer hair and whatnot, but the face kind of could fit. I'm not sure if it's actually the guy, but yeah. And Mrs. Corner, I still forgot the name. I know it was mentioned, but in the meantime, put this on. Yeah, she was gonna examine him, but he wakes up and then yeah, he says, why don't you just leave the reports, okay? I don't want people to immediately know it. They're gonna know it in a couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever, but they're not immediately gonna know it because I want to kind of prep him up for all of that. He actually mentions her name here. I see he's very happy about Yuji actually being back. The two of them hitting it off almost immediately. No, well, her name is gonna be in there somewhere. I know it. Yeah, I don't know. You don't know. It's somewhere in here. I'm gonna find it. Shoko. Shoko is her name. Okay, cool. Shoko. First name, probably, I assume. Sounds like a first name, not like a Japanese family name. But yeah. This guy is smart. He can not see curses, but he can sense them at least. He doesn't know what it is, but he has a bad feeling about this, and he gets the fuck out, and it saved his fucking life. And here we do see that these antagonists here have a general disregard for human life in general. I mean, I didn't assume he held humans in high value, considering he was spouting on about humans being liars and fake, and curses or Shikigami being purity. So I can understand that. Yeah, we do have Fujigoro actually apologizing to the mother of the convict that died, being like, hey, look, I wasn't sure if we even gonna save these people. I know that sounds harsh, but my friend was different, and he tried everything he could, and I'm sorry that we couldn't get at least his corpse out of there. Which I think it's nice to just kind of respect the opinion of others and kind of maybe take them to heart a little bit here and there, even if you yourself don't fully believe in it. And yeah, and we go to like a partially comedic segment with never mind. What was I saying? We go to a partial sequence of like the training and whatnot with like a little bit comedic values. Nobara being like, holy shit, I'm being thrown around here. Stop fucking having a conversation and join me. And she's like, let me buy some good looking tracksuits, please. These uniforms are going on my nerves. So yeah, I mean, she's a lot about clothes and other stuff, and probably would profit a lot from like individualizing the uniform even more, but I don't know if that's gonna be the thing later on, because for me it looks pretty standard issue as opposed to what Yuji has, for example. But maybe they can only do so much with it, right? Maybe they have limitations on how much they can modify it. And they want to train them up to actually become more melee fighters. And Yuji himself has the same motivation, right? We kind of mirror that. Yuji wants to get stronger because he realized he couldn't stop the whole shit happening with Sukuna and whatnot, and with the special grade. And Megumi and Nobara actually have the same thing going on, so... yeah. And we do explain the curses, right? Not the curses, the curse techniques. that frame. Yeah, we explained the curse techniques, that like curse power, raw curse power. It's like you're, I don't know, it's like you're doing something with your raw strength, while curse technique is actually you using some kind of tool or whatever, but still using your body, right, to do something. Or here it's like electricity, like raw power and appliance, which makes sense, I guess. The appliance is more specific, and needs certain voltage, certain energy, and you can do one specific thing or a couple of specific things, but not all of the other things. With electricity is kind of like the source of everything. I don't know if it matches 1-to-1, depending on how they actually meant it. But in my, like, if we understand it like this, curse power is just power, right? And some people can just release the power. It can be like, bam, bam, energy blast, whatever. But if you're using techniques, it's more of just using that power to cause certain things to happen, right? So yeah, he is the melee fighter, most definitely. Curse techniques are fundamentally etched into your body from the day you were born. So Yuji, supposedly, we don't know that yet, right? Because he himself hasn't discovered that yet, or whatever. Because we know he's super, super strong for some reason, and he was that before he even got in contact with anything, so... there could be secrets here, but he says generally you're not gonna be able to advance that or learn that or whatever. But he's like, yeah, in his mind he's like, yeah, but you're gonna develop them because Kuna. Yuji turns into Paper Mario. You want to do a Kamehameha, dude. Poor dude. Who didn't want to do that as a kid, right? Which person who saw anime or whatever didn't want to do that and just pretend to be doing it like eighth grader syndrome style, being all Chunibyo in school or on the playgrounds or whatever. Or hope that they, I don't know, would wake up with a letter to a magic school at some point in time. It's just childhood fantasies, and it's very, very endearing in Yuji, because he is kind of, he has that childlike mind still, while being very serious and very responsible in other categories. Here he's still a child at heart, which is very which is a personality trait that makes him very endearing in my opinion. But his talent in combat is top notch, and we explain that all of this comes from negative emotion. I don't get all of the things he says here. Yeah, he explains it like brimming with anger and fear, and he's like, oh yeah, you need to be like this all the time, and Goji's like, nah, that's not how it works, okay? That's not how it works. And we have the little trope about somebody talking badly about you and you kind of feeling it low-key. Everyone's trained to produce cursed energy using the faintest sparks of emotions. So you just use very, very low sparks of emotions. You just kind of pull it out, right? You need to learn that. They've also trained on how to not waste cursed energy when emotions are flaring too, right? So emotions are flaring up, and instead of releasing all of that energy, you kind of just keep it on the down low. Let it keep it brooding somewhat. And yeah, okay, so he chooses the method of right, you're gonna watch a bunch of fucking movies. Some of them gonna make you feel things, other of them are gonna be boring as fuck, but it is your job to let me see what they actually say, to just not that I had it wrong. Yeah, box him, get him fuck out of there. Your first goal is to watch an entire movie from start to finish without waking the cursed corpse. This trains you to maintain a steady output of cursed energy no matter what emotions you feel, right? You have to supply the stream of energy, and it has to be steady, but your emotion can be flat or flare up, and you should maintain the same amount. Not too much and too little, and in time the cursed energies requirements would go up and up and up. But you still need to kind of maintain that and slowly increase it over time. Now, free up both hands at any time because he has his curse technique. And he is gonna try to, like, I don't know what that is, but it seems to me like he can go through objects, so I wonder how he's gonna carry around stuff with him. Because for me that just means he can just, right? Maybe he can store them in his body. That is an option, right? He puts it in his like rib cage or something. It's like, okay, let me just pull out my knife or something. Kind of weird, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'm way off though. And this is I don't know, this is so random. Her being like in the city buying clothes and whatnot. I don't know what that was. Weird shot. Maybe one of you can explain to me what that was about, but yeah. And Gojo's gonna go on a trip, and he notices he's being followed, and now we're gonna contend with Volcano Head here. I think he's gonna get a beating. I mean, maybe it's gonna trouble Gojo in some way, but he's gonna get a beating, I'm pretty fucking sure. Like, removing Gojo this early, ain't gonna happen. I don't think so. And yeah, I think that's it with Jujutsu Kaisen episode 6. There's not too much to talk about here. We're in the flow, right? We're setting up the next arc. We just finished the last arc-ish, right? Mental representations, we talked about that. Sukuna and Yuji, and it's probably gonna come back to bite us at some point. We had the animations at the beginning of the episode. I think that's enough to talk about. A little bit of a shorter episode, but I hope you still enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please leave me a like. It would help me a lot. Subscribe if you don't want to miss any more content of mine. And, join the Discord or check out the Patreon. All of the links are in the description down below. See you guys next time.